Well, hello, everyone. How are you doing? So good to see everybody. And I trust that, you are in favor this day. I did not forget our tones, by the way. I really do like this. We're going to get some bowls in here, but I don't think they're that, some of them are really big. But I think that the tuning forks do very well. Yeah, we'll do a little stairway to heaven thing. Anyway, how are you? Good to see you. Just let me invoke favor upon you this day. If you're listening to me or seeing my image, may favor grace you this day. May there be nothing missing, nothing broken in your life, and complete restoration of all thoughts. I think it's both good and bad. We talked about that yesterday with Trina. I think about more about this, that maybe there's some things that we've done in our past that we're glad we don't remember. So anyway, hello, free thinkers of the galaxy. Hello, all the moderators. Hey, Kaz, how are you doing, my dear? Melanie and Tim, and I think David is there. Sapphire Isle. I love that. That's a great handle. Lost in Space. Hello. Hey, Casey, how you doing? Well, there's just a lot. Think agape love always and forever. Ain't that the truth? Victor, hello. I think that says Cha 717. Did I get that right? Anyway, Anne, hello. Jenny, good to see you. Favor and abundance to you, my dear. Hillard, good to see you. Hey, David. Peace, brother. David's eating dinner. That's right. Over in his part of the world, we all time travel. It just depends on what your reality is, I guess. Happy birthday to all of you who are having one, and anniversaries as well. Friday, we are going to have Cajun Queen Tarot on. As many of you know, Lois runs a food pantry, and we try to once or twice a year as a community help put food in there. And, she uses that as an opportunity that shows people that there can be people that it will feed you without wanting you to sell your soul to whichever deity is the flavor of the day. So she will be on Friday, and on my landing on the YouTube channel page, that little one up there goes directly to her PayPal account. So there we go. Hey, JH, how you doing? The Master Troy, hello. Lost in Space. Truth Seeker, how are you? Robert, good to see you. Emperor Rex, hello. Lady Gray Raven, much love to you, my dear. How are you? So, let's see what else has happened. I got this cool story from one of the people in our community, and I just thought it was kind of cool. I won't read the whole thing, but yeah, I thought his take on some things was pretty cool. He said, I was a Catholic for 35 years. When I found out about the Inquisition and the torture they used to convert people to Catholicism, yeah, that always works really well, doesn't it? Yeah. I left the Catholic Church. Then I was a Jesus freak for about 24 years. I remember what we used to call back in the days, 1970, 71, Children of God. We called them Jesus freaks because, yeah, many of them looked that way. It's like the T-shirt I'm wearing. Wanted, dead and alive. This was Schrodinger's cat, by the way. So, and if you haven't studied that, go and check it out and apply it to your spiritual journey today. Anyway, he said, then I became Jews for Jesus freak, and then just a flat Jewish freak. Okay, I remember that. Jews for Jesus. I remember that very well. Says a friend of Facebook told me I was stupid for believing the Bible. When I asked him why, he told me to research it. I spent over 30 hours a week for the next 4 years researching. Found out that he was right. Yep, there's no DNA evidence that Jesus existed love sinks the Bible. Yeah, there's a lot of contradictions. This is what he found. Then I became a radical love atheist. I had never thought about that before, but yeah, I think there's some of us who could really, I completely relate. He goes on to say there are so many so-called gods out there, and so many of them kill. What kind of loving God would allow a child to suffer from cancer? Well, yeah, there's a lot of deep philosophical discussions on that. I discovered love was greater than any God. Good, you found the right path that I had ever heard of. My imagination was also greater than any God had ever learned that I had learned of. Cool. Creation should only be used for the good of everyone. No problem with that. The problem of evil was also a huge problem for their beings and the all-powerful, all-knowing being. Yeah, there are benevolent and malevolent beings on this earth. Yep. And in the cosmos, love is better than hate, and peace is better than war. That's all I got to say. I agree. He goes on to say, Dr. Emoto did an experiment with 3 cooked jars of rice. One had love written over it. The second had ignored written on it. And the third had hate written over it. Cooked rice will mold when it stays in a jar, not refrigerator. That is true. The first jar with love had no mold. The second one, ignored, had mold. And the third with hate had mold. He says our thoughts and words are so powerful. That's a fact, Jack. And we can create good and bad with our thoughts. So he goes on to say and make this declaration that, he's sovereign and free. I think that's true for a lot of us. I mean, it's a journey of awakening. So I was meditating prior to coming on, and this is what I was received. I want to pass it on to you. Being awake doesn't mean about getting yourself free from a mind struck, whether it be religion, a political ideology, whatever. To be awake means, and this is what I heard word for word, to become awakened to the unlimited potential and possibility. What do you say to that? Thank you. Well, that's what you do. You say thank you. But isn't that the truth? I think for most of my life, I could look back, and I was always a person that always looked at the impossible. It's always been my way. I have risked a lot in that belief, that anything is possible. And I still do believe it. It's still true. What I have become aware more at this stage is redefining possibility with unlimited possibilities. So we're on a journey. All right, this is Wednesday. Hello, Wayne. How are y'all doing? So good to see you. Susan, hello. Yes, and that is the truth. Wow, okay. Susan, I just read that. My husband was that way. Yeah, well, he's a good man. And Susan, I have to say, kindred spirit. People are having a great time. I tell you, I love this energy. Hello, Charlotte. Hello. Hello, Heather. All right. So this is Wednesday. We're going to practice our ESP. So I need someone. Hello, Sabrina. Well, thank you, Susan. That touches me. All right. Getting all my concentration, right? Choking me up, man. All right. The emotions, that's part of the experience here. And they carry over. They really do. And that's why we have to learn to control our emotions. I believe some of us are on the path where we're going to be creating worlds. Hello, Darth. How are you? Wow. Darth, I didn't know. 25. Well, that's cool. So, and I think that, who knows, maybe we've had the opportunity before and we screwed it up and we had to come back to remedial class. I don't know. But I do believe that there is that real possibility that we've probably created some worlds and just really screwed it up. I mean, if you think if your emotions are not in check, oh man, yeah, where you find out every thought becomes instant reality. It puts into the motion the whole process. Yeah, that's kind of freaky if you think about it. That's like, yeah, maybe that's what we're here to do, is maybe take control of our thoughts. So, who wants to take score? Well, I'll let someone inside. So we're going to do our cards. And as I look at my glasses, no one can see in there. Don't know what it was last week. It's like there was this light emanating and then it was like reflecting everywhere. And because I saw it in my glasses as well. All right. So we're going to start again, very simple. We're going to start with a normal plain deck. And as everyone can see, we'll put these here. All right. So, all right, there you go. 4 of them. Each one of each suit, right? So as I sit here and talk and ramble on, hello, Led. Ramble on, yes. Tell you, if vibration carries forth, man, there are some, I mean, seriously, there's some intelligent beings that are digging out on Led Zeppelin. Can you imagine? Here you are, this intelligence, just probably maybe like we are, maybe a little advanced. And, you know, radio waves. And I think that thought maybe goes faster than radio waves. I do believe that. Can you imagine someone out there, you know, let's say, I don't know, 1,000 light years away. That's a close distance to us. And they pick up Led Zeppelin the first time. Wow. I don't know. How are you going to react to that? That would be kind of awesome, isn't it? All right. So, all right. I got the card. So I've picked out one card and I've pulled it here. And I know no one can see that. So I'm going to concentrate. We're going to do 15-second increments. This is the card. It is, again, and as you know, the aces. So which suit is the card? And you have 2 ways that you can get this right: color or suit. So where do we go? Monkey experiment, cashmere is good, but yeah, I agree. Wow. That's very impressive. All right. Charlotte got that one right from the get-go. So did Robert, and there was a number of other good ones. All right, let's do it one more time. I'll just randomly shuffle. There's only 4 cards, folks. So, I mean, you know. All right, I've got the card, and here is the card. And wow. Now, I was just observing something. So, yes, it was the Ace of Hearts. And it's quite amazing. The more concentration I was thinking and I was watching in the chat room, the more people were picking up on it. That's what we're talking about, folks. We can get really good at this. Now, we're going to do exactly like we did last week. Practice makes it. So now we're going to add a factor of 2. And speaking of which, Brian over at Milky Way Messenger is going to be having his 222 show on Friday. So if y'all haven't checked out Brian, check him out. He's been in here. He's a moderator, good friend, brother, far out dude. So let's just randomly shuffle because I don't know what these are. So how is everybody? Y'all are just a beautiful group of people. Brilliant souls in here. All right. So as you can see, I am just going to randomly, we're going to do this card right here. I have no idea what it is, but this is how the experiment works, and we'll see. All right. Here is the card. We'll set the clock now for 15 seconds. Remember, you can have it by now numeral value, color, or suit. Okay. Wow, this is an amazing thing because I did this purposely. First of all, I just thought of the suit, the color, and then the numerical value. And you folks were picking up on this really good. A number of you that were picking up on that. That's just freaking cool. Well, way to go. Way to go. Now, we'll spend not as much time as we did before. Remember, we're dealing with these cards that give us the values of, and I'll pull them all out for everybody so you can see them. All right, there they are. And I'll put those to the side since so again, 0, round, yellow, 2, cross, red, 3, wavy lines, blue, or 3, square, could be 4 or black, star, 5, or green. So that's how we'll do it. We won't do a whole lot of time, but this is getting good. This is a good group. Going to be talking to a very wonderful PhD doctor, and her specialty is a lot of what we do here. So in our studies. So I'm literally looking forward to it. So I haven't looked at these cards. I am just randomly shuffling. And here they are. We'll do our first card. See what you think the card is. Remember, you can do it 3 different ways. You can do it by numeral, you can do it by color, or you can do by shape. All right. Let's see. How many of you got 2 or the cross? All right. Again, I'm just touching these cards, so obviously, there's some energy going in here. Heck, there's a lot of energy here. But all right, think on this one. I could do the Jeopardy song, but I'd have to do a copyright thing, so we're not going to do that. So we sit here. Someone says 5. I think it's I see black. That's what I see. Let's see if we have anyone that's close to that. It is the 5, the green, or the star. Maybe I need another cup of coffee, tea. All right. Square? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. Well, I have not batting anything. A big goose egg. Well, let me just tune the old receptors a little bit higher. Let me see if I put my hand on it and if we get anything. I don't know. I got a circle on it when I put my hand on it, but who knows, right? So again, we'll just give everyone, I'm on the record and trust me, wouldn't be following me on this one. I mean, so let's see what we've got. Come on there, card. It's the square. All right, one more. Man, that's nuts. Still say I feel the circle. May the circle never be unbroken. By and by. There we go. Y'all can sing in. We can do a rhyme on this. All the time we do the rhyme. All right, let's see what we got. All right. Well, we did 5 for 5. I don't know who got the score. But yeah. Make sure that the guy driving the bus is not thinking about this. That's a good point, Cayce. We'll do that. I do that on the playing cards, but we'll try it on these. So next Wednesday, tune in. I'll be pulling up some additional exercises, but I think this one is fun. It definitely is telling me. Dream Source says she 3 for 3. That's exceptional. 20% is the baseline of normalcy. So whatever that's worth, right? Next Wednesday, I think we're just going to start doing this, and be interesting what happens in about 3 or 4 weeks, how much better we get at that. All right. Wormholes, spiritual wormholes. I was doing a channeling, and as a soul practitioner, that's how you get it. We're getting the group together. I've got, I believe it is 9 people who are going in that. So next week, I'll be sending that out to all of you who've expressed an interest, and we're going to practice group, and we're going to learn in a small group, then we'll get it into a larger group, how to begin to focus, and then how to begin to project ourselves in a group. And let's see who's, I always say, ring the doorbell. How do you know someone is not there? I mean, really, seriously. So we talked about yesterday, let me get this pulled up, about the universe, with the Second Look program with Trina, which is just getting more popular, and it's just wonderful for the feedback. Thank you. So this is our home. This is, as pointed out yesterday, is the known universe. It's beyond our capability. They say that this is 14.5, maybe 15 billion light years across. Who knows? I mean, at some point, does it really matter? I mean, it's big, really big. All right. And I think that's probably a very intelligent way of saying it. Well, how big is the universe? It's big, man. It's as big as it big gets. And when you think about our sun, why, it's so small. And then you think about our Earth, and then that's even smaller. And then you think about you. How do you fit in with this? Meditate on it. It gets to be interesting. We showed that the stars, the galaxies, it's beyond comprehension. And there's no doubt that there's life here. I mean, if there isn't, then this is a nightmare. That's all I got to say. It is truly hell. But I don't believe that. I believe that there is life beyond our wildest comprehension. I believe that there are intelligences as equal to us, greater than us. I believe as well below us. I believe that there are places within this thing we call the universe where new souls or new spirits are birthed or created, or whatever you want to call it. I say birth. I don't think that may be probably true, probably more true than what I realize. Birth into this plane of existence. And when you begin to think about thought, Bill Gates back in I think it was 98, I think, wrote a book called Business at the Speed of Thought. It was my first introduction to a comprehending of a thought in a different reality than most people ever deal. If you are into computers, particularly in the early days where we were writing codes, today it's insane. But we began to understand that there was a different way to communicate, a way that we could take it down to its simplest components. And, if you look at it, that's what basically binary code is, zeros and ones. But thought is tangible. It can be measured by what our brain activity is doing. And when you begin to think about the curvature of space-time, it falls in line with Einstein, relatively. Although I think, understand, science is now understanding Einstein isn't the all be to be all. If our science is going to be limited by the theories of 100 years ago, we begin to retard ourselves. But so the idea of wormholes being that where you could basically bridge vast differences, in this case, into a physicality by bending space-time itself. But imagine if these exist in the physical realm, then wormholes would certainly exist in the spiritual realm as well. The applied physics and science wouldn't be, I don't think, that much different. Of course, everyone has their different views on it, on what thought is, what spiritual realms are, what realms are. But this is mass energy of such intensity and complexity. And to tell me that this is just a randomness of events of particles and, electromagnetics and plasma and everything else, and you're saying that there's no thought behind this, I can't accept that. I mean, that's, saying that randomness is the originality of creation. Now, I think that spiritual beings, they call it astral projecting, lucid dreaming. I think that is, in fact, when you begin to think about wormholes of both a physical nature and then of an unseen nature. We can't even see the universe, our eyes We're blinded. We only get to see a small little portion of what it is. So if it exists in the physical, it exists in the spiritual. And I'm talking about spiritual energy. And the dream state of consciousness, I think, is one of those ways that we, as these temporal beings, with the magnificence of the spirit, the mind, that we can open up wormholes and we can speak to others, I think, on the other side of the galaxy itself. I think we have been lied to for so long that we don't think that that's possible. But the religion I came out of, that's exactly what it teaches. Wormholes. Now, you could put that into a term of a portal, a vortex, but I think the proper, more accurate term would be a wormhole, connecting maybe a universe from one side to the other, boom. Maybe opening wormholes to different dimensions, different planes of existence. I contend that that's probably what a lot of us have done in our dream state of consciousness. We became numb, anesthetized, amnesia, yeah, to what our natural abilities were. I contend that that's most likely what newborn babies are still doing. They're still connected. The mind is growing, but the mind is, even as we find, as you age, it never stops. And I think that where we see wizards, magicians, witches, they knew how to open up these wormholes. I mean, it's the only thing you can really see. A vortex or a portal is definitely much more one-dimensional. Does that make sense? A vortex is spinning, but if you look at a wormhole, well, then that's bridging. Does that make sense? Bridging multiple dimensions. And I think that that's what we're doing when we actually get into a dream state. Channeling, as we continue to go down this road, by fixing a destination within a group and applying the same destination in a collective consciousness, I'm going to be real curious to see who answers the phone call. I have a thing that I think that somebody is going to answer. All right, I have a great paper. This is a part, again, of a series of articles on the paranormal. This one was very, very interesting. This one has to do with Ra. Where is my book? All right. So many of you probably have this book, the Book of Ra, the Ra material. This is from what they call the Law of One. This is book one. There's a series behind them. And folks, this is what I'm talking about. It's so timely with what we're doing here. So, excuse me, let's follow on with this. How Ra came about. Ra is the name of an extraterrestrial group of supernatural entities purportedly contacted by Don Elkins and Carla L., I think that's Ruckart, and James Allen McCarty, who formed a non-profit organization called the L&L Research. In 3 years, beginning from the 15th of January, 1981 to the 15th of March, 1984, 106 contact sessions were recorded. These sessions became the material of the 5-volume The Law of One book series. According to the law of one, throughout the session, Ruckert, I think I got her name right, excuse me, performed as deep trance medium or channel. Elkins asked the questions, and McCartney meditated and flipped the recording tapes over as they finished each side. Those were back in the days, folks, of reel to reel. Yeah. They applied some rituals and spells purported to be instructed by Ra before each session. Now, isn't this interesting? This takes channeling now to another dimension. As opposed to having an individual opening their mind and being able to, number one, accept and realize that it's not harmful, it's not something to be afraid of, that it is a natural ability. As we begin to open our mind to that, we begin to find out that there's new hallways, new doorways. Now, isn't it odd how at the beginning of this year, we were actually dealing into a lot of rituals? And here there is a ritual now and spells purported to be instructed by Ra before each session. It kind of shows you folks that whether it's religion, prayer, magic, spell, incantations, whatever, it's channeling. The purported communications depicted an infinite universe in which the core element is vibration, with the provision of primal distortions, free will, love, light. Isn't that an odd term? Primal distortions. Logi, individualized portions of intelligent infinity. Individualized portions of intelligent infinity. That's what they say we are. Get this. Creative principles of galaxies, created guidelines, potentials of experience, an octave-based structure, 7 levels or bands, which are composed of physical and incorporeal parts. The sublogi, the physical manifestations of which are stars, the sublogi further create with further interpretation without removing or adding to guidelines. Fertile conditions from which sublogi, beings, us, I guess, emerge and undergo mental, physical, and spiritual evolutions through reincarnations, each incarnation being intended to be a course in the Creator knowing itself. Kind of much what the Palladians said about Prime Creator. Man's got it wrong. Religion's hijacked the whole concept of a deity, and the fact that, they tried to make something perfect that was imperfect. Well, there's nothing wrong in simply saying that the Creator is all about experiencing. Why is that so difficult? I don't know. The journey along the spectrum, octave-based structure, which may take billions of years. That's why I contend many of us here are billions, if not beyond that age. I think there are new spirits, but they're never going to come into this incarnation as a new soul. I think that the vibration in this plane would tear them apart. They have to go to a world, a physical plane that is much more debased and much more denser. But that's just kind of what my thoughts. Raw entities identify themselves as a group from 6th band in the sense of band of spectrum of existence, and describe their physical nature as being made of light and in the channeled text. Their aim in communicating is to aid humans, which they define as 3rd band beings, in their evolution without infringing on free will. These entities claim that the ancient Egyptians worshiped them as their deity Ra, but that their interpretation has little to do with what they really are. Well, that's really interesting. Little history here, because this gets very fascinating, folks. It shows that, well, these were pioneers in the modern age. All right, so Don Elkins formed the LL Research with Carla in 1970. In 1974, Carla Rueckert began channeling, and LL Research published the resulting material. James McCartney, as we said, joined the group in 80 after beginning to attend their group meditations in 78. In January of 81, during one of the telepathic channeling sessions, Rueckert went into a deep trance state and contact with raw entities began. Elkins, Rueckert, and McCarty continued to hold sessions in order to contact with these entities until the suicide of Elkins on November 7th, 1984. He is reported to have died of a gunshot wound to the head. Those sessions were published in a series of 5 books, collectively titled The Law of One. Now, I didn't know this when I bought the book. So this is intense. I mean, for an individual who is this close, I think it's a lesson to show vibrations, folks. So Rueckert and McCarthy stopped holding the sessions to contact Ra after Elkins died. They have been holding meditation sessions during which they telepathically channeled what they refer to as the other Confederation sources. Latwi, I think that's El Lima, claimed as groups from the 5th band. I think that is Hatan. Latos, claimed as group from the 4th band. Oxel, Om, and the principle of, I think that would be Q, claimed as a created collaboration between those of Ra, Latwi, and Hatan. According to the LL Research website, before and during the time period when Ra sessions were held, all 3, including Elkins, as well as some other people attending meditation sessions, were telepathically channeling each one or all of these entities, except what I would say is that would be called Q and Lima. The LL Research have been publishing the transcript, so you can go out there into their website. So getting onto this, the methodology, this is what I wanted to get to. Preceding sessions, Elkins and Rueckert and McCarty sang and meditated with the intent to trigger positive feelings, harmony, and to make themselves align with the aim of the study. Then they perform their ritual of protection and cleansing of the room in which the contact would be made, and situated Rueckert in a prone position on the bed with the head pointed 20 degrees north by northeast. Not clear that the north mentioned here was whether that was magnetic north, which compass point, or was it true north? It's the little things. Covering her body with a white blanket, her eyes with a white cloth, and hooked up 3 tape recorder microphones just below her chin, not to miss any of the sessions if 1 or 2 tape recorders would malfunction. As Rueckert mentally recited the prayer of St. Francis, Elkins aligned the table, which held the Bible. Now I think I'm beginning to see why he may, okay. The book most closely aligned with the instrument mental distortions. The book most closely aligned with the instrument's mental distortions, which are allied mostly closely with the law of one. Candle, incense, and a chalice of water in a straight line with her head as recommended by Ra. Are y'all picking up on something? That's what I'm getting on this. This is the chakra system. I mean, the Palladians have told us that we have 12. We only access, well, some people only access a couple, but yeah, can you see what's happening? I picked up on that immediately. After lighting the candle and incense, Elkins and McCarty walked the circle of one around Ruckert and repeated the words that started each contact. In second half of 3-year span, they began to perform banishing rituals of the lesser pentagram additionally. At the end of each session, after a brief period of silence, Elkins and McCarty repeated the name of Ruckert until the answer was obtained. They did not touch her until she responded to her name. Wow, this is some pretty deep stuff. By the way, I do have this PDF. As you can see, it's not long at all. It's only 12 pages. According to the text, during sessions, Ruckert departed her physical body, remaining connected via the silver cord. Trina and I were talking about that yesterday. And a member of Ra used it remotely as an instrument to communicate. Wow. The channeling session took a question and answer style. The questions asked were on a wide range of subjects and events such as stoneheads of Easter Island, the pyramids, the Nazca lines present in earlier civilizations of mankind, Maldek, Mars, Lemuria, Mu, Atlantis, Bigfoot, Karma, and other beings and civilizations in the universe, the nature of evolution, energy centers of the body, Kundalini, sexual energy transfers, the physics of Dewey B. Larson, Nikola Tesla. Wow. Some influential figures in human history, ritual magic, white magic, the nature and function of the higher self, healing, reincarnation, meditation, psychic prophecy, psychic attacks, greetings, thought forms, men in black, cattle mutilations, abduction phenomenon, archetype mind, tarot, and the veil of forgetting. Dwight D. Eisenhower's meeting with the extraterrestrials in 1954. I did a whole thing on that, called the Spectrum Omega. U.S. government conspiracies, anger, balancing, Aleister Crowley, the Tucson event, pre-incarnative choices, ball lightning phenomena, and intergratron. Intergraton. I don't know what that is. Not all questions were answered by Ra. In order not to infringe upon free will of contactees or audiences / readers in general, some information is falsifiable or verifiable in nature. By disclosing which would infringe on free will were kept by Ra, such as the present location of the Ark of the Covenant, the records purportedly hidden inside the Sphinx, etc. Okay. Elkins, Ruckert, and McCarty decided to exclude healing information that was discussed during the first book from the books as recommended by Ra in sessions. The channeled messages. According to transcripts of the channeling sessions published as the Law of One books, Ra underwent a human-like evolution on the planet Venus 2.6 billion years ago. Their third density, human-like, experience on Venus is stated as had been dealt far more deeply and harmoniously with relationships with other selves, i.e. other people, sexual energy transfer work, and philosophical and metaphysical research. Very interesting. You see how that thing with the sexual energy? Folks, I was in a meditating session, and this is so, the synchronicities again here, we're going to talk about this. Not today, but we are going to delve into this subject. I may have to do this one in such a manner that we do it in a polite, well-educated form. All right. They had not developed the interrelationships of barter or money systems and power. Tarot was devised and used as a training aid in the study of the archetypical mind by them as the product of many generations of work. After their graduation from third density, they continued to evolve through again space-time, incarnate space-time, disincarnate cycles. The question does not demand a long answer, for we who experience the vibratorial densities upon that planetary sphere, which you call Venus, were fortunate in being able to move in harmony with the planetary vibrations with a harmonious graduation to second, to third, and to fourth, and a greatly accelerated fourth density experience. Okay. We spent much time, space, if you will, in fifth density, balancing the intense compassions that we had gained in fourth density. The graduation again was harmonious, and our social memory complex, which had become most firmly cemented in fourth density, remained of a very strong and helpful nature. Our sixth density work was also accelerated because of the harmony of our social memory complex, so that we were able to set out as members of the Confederation to even more swiftly approach graduation to seventh density. Our harmony, however, has been a grievous source of naivety as regards working with your planet. All right, I'll kind of break it off here. Y'all get this. It's very interesting to read the whole story. The point was that this was done by a group. Granted, one apparently couldn't handle it, which is understandable, of the information. Seems to be of a very intense high vibration, which, by the way, that's why sex magic is so powerful. If you begin to understand it, not in a physical sense, but you begin to understand it and see it as a vibrational frequency in which to transmute thought into the realm of the ether to begin to materialize here in the physical plane. Yeah, baby, that's what we're talking about. They go on to say, according to the fragments omitted from the first 4 books in the first sessions, Ra tried to communicate through other people who claimed Ra was communicating through them. David Wilcock, believed by some to have been I didn't know this, to be the reincarnated Edgar Cayce, is the only known purported medium claiming to have channeled Ra entities. Contrary to Ruckert, he claims he does not need to go into any trance for channeling Ra. Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the way I look at all of this now is that we're dealing with the fact that these are also beings. Get out of here for a second. It's this wild stuff. I mean, it's very obvious, depending on your point of view, how your perception views things. Humans been doing this apparently, seemed like almost from the beginning. It seems like the true humans that are no longer here had these abilities to connect to the universe itself. I contend that there is, in fact, we use them. I remember back in the day when I used to pray. Oh, I was a prayer warrior. Man, I mean, I had calluses on my knees. I knew what it was to lay prostrate before the Lord. And I was an intense prayer. I was what some people said, the prayers that I would speak would begin to materialize very quickly. But there were many others like me. The point that I'm trying to say, I now know what was going on. The time I was very naive about it. And I guess like the raw entity said, dealing with humans is a real pain in the ass. That's been reported by virtually every religion of every God that's out there. Seems like us humans that we are just a wily bunch. I can see why many of us who are rogue agents, we're rebels. In fact, Proverbs, one of the definitions of a fool is a rebel. So, maybe we're rebel fools. I don't know. But we have this ability. It's evident by the writings, whether they are myths, whether they are in fact true, of cultures from all over the world, dating back as far as we can tell, of being able to open up what I am now seeing most likely are wormholes to other destinations, other places. The Quran, the Hindu Vedic, the Old Testament is littered with stories of humans opening these spiritual wormholes and obviously moving back and forth. Yes, I did, Richard. Yes, the monotonic gold. Yeah. David says, proud Yankee rebel. There you go. Take it all away. Listen, you remember all of us and that moment when we make the transition, speak favor and just say far out. And, but getting back to this, so those years that I spent as an intercessory prayer warrior, that's what it was called. We could pray down heaven and earth is what was said. And I understand now what was really going on here. And the reason why you're limited when you're actually involved in that is because you're limited in your thoughts. You don't even see the possibility. And if you don't see the possibility and you're not aware of the infinite possibilities, you're going to become very restricted, very narrow-minded, and unfortunately, very brittle. Always remember the willow tree. And the reason why a willow tree doesn't typically fall down is that it bends. Well, thank you, David. Thank you. Yeah, so we're going to get back into our book tomorrow, but I wanted to break this out. It's interesting, folks. As the more I'm researching in academic papers, this is what I'm looking for, because the academic papers make reference to many different religious beliefs, ideologies, different points of view. And here's what I find so interesting. I am so looking forward to talking to a doctor that deals in this area. She's a PhD. Because I'm seeing intellectuals that are taking the brazen path and they're showing science. There is something greater than what we can tangibly put our hands to, define, and say this is evidence. Yeah. But thank you, David. Truth Seeker, let's see. Do you know the Schumann resonance is matched out to alpha brain waves? Our Schumann resonance is being raising. Yes. I think there's a lot to that. I think it's having an effect on us. I know it is. It's very obvious. Infinite frequencies. Thank you. Well, thank you. Very humbled. I do my best. I try. All right. Well, thank you, free thinkers of the universe. Listen, I have a feeling that many of us have met before. I don't think that this is our first rodeo or barbecue. I think that we have come upon ourselves in such a time. And as a group, I see just tremendous things happening. I really do. Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you, Cayce. All right, folks. Much love. Y'all are just groovy people. I keep on hearing Lou Rawls in my head. Yeah, y'all are groovy people for sure. All right. I'll see you tomorrow. All right. Bye-bye. And thanks for tuning in, folks. And moderators, you're the best. And all the rest of y'all, you know, together, we make a hell of a cocktail, don't we? All right, folks. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.